nothing more important in my ability to get funding for NEA than you talking to and getting to know your member of Congress and your center person.
The most important thing that I can tell you is that you should lobby, you should talk to them, and that we're very approachable. We want to hear from you. And those of us who fight on a daily basis here to keep the arts alive need to hear from you. My job as chair of the Arts Caucus is to make sure that the NEA is kept alive every year. I need help, and it's very important that in the districts where you live, if your member does not support the arts, then you need to contact them where they are. Writing to us in Washington is fine, and that's good, and it certainly is important always for you to keep in touch with the people who represent you. But when they're back in the district, invite them to a performance. Sit down and talk to them. Discuss with them the importance of the arts, what it does economically and educationally for the people in that district. If you have special stories that you want to tell us about art, or things that have happened, and just people that you know, children, grown people, elderly, who've been majorly affected by the arts in your district, then talk to them about that. They can use that on their other members of Congress who may be reluctant. We always need those kind of anecdotes to use. Please don't feel, if you can't see the member in Washington, that you're getting snubbed or not being treated well, because the member has enormous pressures. We go from 8 o'clock in the morning, in our case on the Rules Committee, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. A 16-hour day is not uncommon here for us. And if we're not here in the room because we are voting or we're at a committee meeting, our staffs are perfectly capable of talking to you. They know their subjects well, and they report to us. The kind of communication put in my hand is that I always, of course, see the handwritten letters. I get the emails, and they are easy for me to go through. But I know the number and type of every letter that comes into this office. The phone calls are given to me from my district office when I'm in Washington on a daily basis on what the subject is and who called. We often have conversations back and forth with the people who phone me. Believe me, it is very important for us that to hear from our constituents, and don't think of your congressperson as somebody different. Please think of us as one of your neighbors that you have elected to come down here to serve you. But we can only do that if we work together. So hearing from you is critically important.
The most powerful approach here in Washington was anecdotes. It's very hard to recall the amount of information we're exposed to. And you can recall an anecdote or something like that much more rapidly. Image and picture of who you are and what you do, and what some of the programs are that they might be interested in, because they foster either quality education or communication in the community. So you want to go to them with a very clear and targeted view of who you are. You want to go to them with a very concise and specific message about what help you need, and you also want to make sure that they understand what support you have locally and at the state level. It's extremely helpful for you to help members of Congress do things and get them involved in things you're doing for the community. I depend on my arts organizations to let me know when they're taking on a particularly big project. I help them. I visit their preparation, so there's a little article in the paper about my visiting it. It gives them publicity. It reminds the community of what they're trying to do, and then it gives me a chance to watch out and see, is there any way I could help that they may not know about. So that teamwork is very important, and it can be built around all kinds of activities. Sometimes I go to terrific performances that they're going to have for a specific reason and make an issue out of being there. Volunteer advocates are frankly much too nice. They think that they have to be very nice and anything you can do, and you know, we have a wonderful theater here. Well, you do have a wonderful theater here, but you better be able to say, you know, we have a really great program. We're getting out of their schools, we're doing this, there's got to be some intensity and belief. You know, this is professional. This is about the nation. You know, you want our help because we're from Washington. And so I think you have to be careful about lobbying a federal legislator who is lobbied constantly by people of all kinds of, you know, all kinds of issues, very complicated, macro, micro. You know, you want people who are passionate but are succinct and who can say what they want, who can get it across. How can we work with you? What information can we give you? Anecdotes. you could get the attention of a friend. I had, for instance, in my district, what are called hot schools, higher order of thinking schools. And when I came back from visiting one of these schools, I said to one of my friends, I said, have you ever had a 5th grader say to you, do you know what a higher order of thinking school is? Have you ever listened to a 5th grader explain what a higher order of thinking school is? There's simply no substitute for something you can tell a colleague about that demonstrates vividly in their mind the importance of arts dollars in our communities. You know, you have terrific people down here. They get us any information we need. But if they can't produce letters, I just lost a very important bill because the people in Washington couldn't produce letters from the people affected fast enough and in great volume enough for the Senate to say, oh, we've got to do this.